Have you met my crazy husband last time? Okay. Oh gosh. Well, I had to marry him because he's just got this dynamic personality and he keeps life interesting. Okay. Um, so we're going to talk about managing the home inspection today. And Derek and I started this company back in 2008. We both worked out at the paper mill in Texarkana, and he was working shift work for 23 years. We have 6 kids between the two of us. We're a blended family, and we got married when they were 4 boys in high school. So, needless to say, we have been through the ringer and once or twice. And so it was really challenging. And when they started getting out of the nest, we wanted something different, and we wanted to make a difference in the world. And we just both have an entrepreneurial mindset. I used to do Cincy and all kinds of fun stuff like that. And I was getting a teaching degree when I met Derek, and so this is just a natural extension of who we are. Are y'all able to hear me okay with this? Okay. I can't tell from up here. So anyway, I just kind of want to tell you a little bit about me. I am very much a grandmother at heart, and I am passionate about my babies. And when I'm not in the office and I'm working 12 hours there in the office, I'm with my babies or with Derek and we're traveling. Because that's kind of who we are and that's what we like to do. I'm also a scuba diver, born and raised on the water. And so I just want you to know who I am and that I'm here to serve you, and that I love helping and serving our clients. I love helping your clients. And my number one goal is to give you any kind of tidbit that I can possibly give you that's going to help you be successful and to make life go smoother in that home inspection process. Okay? So we're going to talk about managing the home inspection today. I'm sure some of this you may be familiar with, but some of it is easy to forget. And so we're going to talk about it from a general perspective, and then we're going to talk about it from your seller as a listing agent, and then from a buyer as a buyer's agent. Okay? Down. Okay, to give real service, you must add something which cannot be bought or measured with money, and that is in sincerity and integrity. And, when we're on the phone with your clients and we're scheduling an inspection, they know when we really care about them. And it's true for you. They're going to know how you work with them and how engaged you are in the conversation. So I really like this quote. This is our company as it stands right now. Brian on the top, we cover Arkansas. He's our Arkansas guy. We're fixing to add another guy for Arkansas. The two on the bottom are the ones you'll see the most around here in your area. That's Bryce and Eric. How many of you have we done an inspection for before? Have you been on any side of it? Nobody? Awesome. Okay. Lots of opportunities here. Heather is our marketing manager. Megan and Kim answer the phone, do all of our scheduling. You will never call us and not get us. First it goes to Megan, then it goes to Kim, and then it either goes to me or Heather, depending on. So our scheduling is available to you 24/7 on our website. You go to inspectiongator.com. In the upper right, it says schedule now. Fill out what you know. Don't worry about it. We're just going to take that. It immediately texts and emails us. And then if it's in the middle of the night, the next morning we're going to follow up. If it's on the weekend, we're going to follow up, as soon as it's reasonable for everybody. We are open on Saturdays and Sundays. We don't inspect on Sundays, but we do answer the phone on Sunday afternoon. So I just want you to know how we have structured our company to be very service-oriented and to meet the needs of the people. Oops, wrong way. Get the feel of it here. These are our core values in our company. They're on our wall, and we talk about them at every one of our team meetings. And we are intentional. Proactive is my favorite. We are very proactive. You'll see that in our communications with you. on being proactive in our text, in scheduling. We take care of everything. You don't have to, if you're a buyer's agent, all you got to do is say, here's my client's name and here's the address property, and you're done. We'll take it from there. We reach out to the client. We make sure that we're covering all the things they want us to do on our ancillaries that we offer so many of. And then we'll reach out to that listing agent. We have lock boxes. We're going to arrange to get into the property. You don't have to do a thing, okay? This is kind of our Gator experience. So I'm talking, before we get into the other, I want you to kind of be familiar with our company. So this is just kind of the front end of just letting you know a little bit about how we operate. So this is in our brochure that we give to you guys and to all the clients. You open up this pretty house, and across the top, it's the 6-step process of the Gator experience. So the clients, what's the number one way we can eliminate their fears? Anybody got a suggestion? How can we eliminate clients' fears? Okay. Yes. When they know what to expect. Those fears don't overcome. When they know what to expect next, then they simmer down and they're ready for the next step. So that communication is vital. So we got scheduling, then the inspection. We do a personal consultation either on site with them, or if they're not able to come, we do it over the phone, usually the next day at everybody's convenience. Same day reports go out in the evening. Then we do a follow-up question with agents and with our clients, just a quick little text. How'd it go? Any lingering questions? Anything we can do to help? We just want good communication, no something that's this big turning into this big, because if they just know and understand, we'll just nip it in the bud. And then we have a contractor directory. It's a resource. It is in lockdown, and only people that schedule with us get the code to get into it. And we have a list for Tyler, and we have a list for Longview. We have a list for Texarkana, so forth. And what it is HVAC specialists, electricians, painters, landscape, roofers, people that we've worked with or that we've been advised are really good, so that they have a few people and resources to go to ask questions or to get quotes from. Okay? That's kind of okay. So I'd like to take just a minute and run around the room. I'd like you to answer these questions for me. It will help me get to know you better. So your name, how long you've been in the industry, what is a challenge area that you're finding, particularly in the home inspection world, or it could be anything, but home inspection would be great. And then your expectations for today's presentation. We'll start here and then go to this table and then over here.
Hi, I'm Phil Fraser. I've been in the industry for 2 years, and
challenge area.
Areas. What do you mean by that? Like towns or areas of the inspection?
Of the inspection, or in dealing with clients.
Okay. I would think for challenging areas is just making sure on the inspection report there's so much on there, is letting the client know when you go over with them what would be maybe the top 3 or 4 things that should be addressed if they're to ask for something to be repaired.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And what would you like to get from the presentation?
What I'm hoping to gain is finding out how can that be handled without coming across in a rude way or anything. Because like I had one just this week said everything. I said, let's have a talk.
Yeah.
So I would like, without y'all overstepping your boundaries, because I know y'all can't really do that either, how can we say, if it were me, I would like to see these top 3 or 4 things would be the areas of most concern.
I love your question. Okay, I'm going to step into my husband's skin for a minute and tell you his story. I love this story. He says, how many of you have ever gone to eat all-you-can-eat fish? Okay? So when you go to eat all-you-can-eat fish, you know how they pile up the French fries, and then you got your hush puppies and a few pieces of fish on the top. but you've paid fill in the blank, $29.99, $49.99 for this plate. When you go there, are you going to fill up on the French fries in the bottom? You're going to you go for the money stuff. So that's our perspective on a home inspection. Don't nitpick it, Miss Buyer. Don't nitpick all little small things. Let's focus in on the big ticket items, the things that are going to be costly or that is outside your comfort zone. So in our consultation, we're going to be asking them, what's your comfort level on running a caulk gun or doing a little painting? They're going to start establishing that rapport with that client to know because some people, you might get the same house and this person is a technology person like my son and he don't even know how to change a light bulb practically. And then you're going to get my other son as the next client coming in to buy the same house. Like, I'm not worried about that. I can totally replumb this house, So they establish that rapport early on to find out what that person's comfort level is. And then they're going to direct them at the end of our particular inspections. We break things down into major concerns. So there's a summary at the end. Major concerns, safety items in need of further evaluation, and potential deferred costs. So things in deferred would be like a gutter system. It's a great idea. It's for the betterment of the foundation and the good of the home. Is it a fire in the house right now? No, but it is a good plan for the long term. Hail damage, shifting, obvious foundation challenges, those are going to be more your money tickets and more major concerns. So I think that's the thing is Derek's focus is always go for the safety items, because what is safety? That is fire, potential fire, and somebody getting hurt, and we don't want that for anybody, and none of us want that liability on us. So the big ticket items and the safety, those are kind of not something you want to slough off. Yep, that's it. Okay, let's go back there. What's your name? Congratulations, Barbara. That's an accomplishment. Good for you.
Anyway, challenge areas for me are working with the new agents that are not aware of a lot of things that could come up on an inspection. And so they need to do their due diligence in learning.
Yes.
If panel boxes in the closet, the inspector's going to call that out. And you'll learn as you go.
Yeah.
Would you allow new agents to go to an inspection?
Oh, yes.
Learn?
Oh, you can. I mean, I'm just hungry to get in front of new agents. And Derek we have classes specifically for new agents that teaches them all about the inspection. And we even have a class that is a field class where they can go and observe an inspection, and the inspector teaches and tells what they're doing. That is a class we offer.
The other challenge area I would say is probably your home inspector saying that you might want to consult a roofing specialist, because there could be either damaged shingles. Can't say it's hail or not, and then you get somebody to go out there and they say, one's like, we're ready to replace the roof, and then the other one wants to get a bid, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, there's not enough damage on this roof. It may have defective shingles. And so you have to kind of take it case by case basis on, you may not always get the buyer's way.
Yeah, that is a real challenge. And we are regulated by TREC. TREC tells us what we can and have to do. And then there are the specialists. Just think we're the general practitioner. And then so we see something in your lab results says, I think we need to go talk to a heart doctor and see. And they've got more tools and more expertise and more training. So that would be your specialists, your electricians, your roofing. But you're right. Sometimes they just want to make that money and replace them. So having multiple bids and having somebody that that you can trust is vital. Yes, I do want to say that I do want to say, in our experience, there have been times where insurance companies refuse to change things, and I've known agents to tell them, well, we will be calling the insurance board because this is the right thing to do. And, so there's things of that nature, it can get sticky, but also never hesitate to call Derek, my husband, because he's got that experience and he can intervene with the roofers and things. So, okay, go ahead.
I am one of those new agents that.
Okay, okay.
It's all a challenge here to me. I'm learning, and I want to find out about the class that you're talking about.
Okay, awesome. There's one coming up here called Back to the Basics. Everybody needs to go to that. It's going to cover even more stuff than what we're doing here today. It's coming up in the future. I don't remember the dates. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm Michelle Nielsen. I've been in business for 10 months. And so I haven't really had any challenging areas yet. And my expectations for today's class was just everything I can learn about.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, back here.
I'm Sarah Munoz. I am an agent. And my challenging areas are, as a new agent, everything's challenging. Trying to get all the info as much as you can and be able to observe it and apply it and know what to do.
Yes. Okay. You guys play a vital part in that home inspection going well. I call it layers of communication. So the first thing is you're working with your buyer and you're going to be encouraging them. I encourage you to get that inspection and try every ounce of your being for them not to forgo an inspection. That just one little repair will make that money back in what that inspection fee is. Just one little repair will make that money. Then they're at a break even, and then now they know. And we are a layer of liability protection for you guys. So if they forego that inspection and then they move in and something is off that they want to blame somebody, they're going to come right back to you and to that seller. What's that? Even a new build, absolutely. No, in fact, new builds can have more going on than a aged home. Okay, come.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katie Huckball, and I've been working in the industry. I just officially got licensed in February this year.
Awesome.
Some of my challenge areas with inspections, it's just because I'm 70, I'm still learning the process of everything. And
Yeah.
I actually had a situation not too long ago where the appraiser told me that I needed a structural engineer inspection due to some minor cracks in the concrete brick. But the inspector that had previously performed the inspection, he was a licensed structural engineer inspector. So that was a whole situation I had to deal with, but thankfully, he wrote the letters that I got to send in, he explained the situation. So it's all just been a learning process.
Yeah.
So my expectation from the presentation today is just to continue learning.
There you go.
Check out some classes.
Everybody's looking out for that buyer, and now appraisers are having to do more than what they used to have to do, and that they're not licensed in that field. So they're just kind of waving like, oh, that's over here, and, always go back to that specialist that can provide that. And you did the right thing on that. Okay, let's go in back here.
Hi, my name is Marcus Harris. I've been with this 3 years. Challenge areas, I think with me, I have a higher volume of clients that are technical. So explaining and translating the information over.
Yes.
And sometimes, one person speaks for the other person not having to translate for. And so just knowing the terms, learning the terms to be able to translate.
Yeah.
Over and making that, to where they understand the severity of either a repair or, hey, this is something like you could probably,
Right.
perform the bigger stuff. Just learning, the wording, how to approach it. Or,
Right.
learn it and present it.
Do you ever use Google Translate?
I have when it's needed, but most of the time I'm there.
Yeah.
For them,
Yeah.
It just takes a little bit more time. You know, have to be there to explain and
Yeah.
show them on the report, the photos
Mm-hmm.
and the explanation. Sometimes they receive it, they have questions, so it's a lot of back and forth.
Yes, and we find the same thing. The Queen especially has a lot of Hispanic population, and then Mount Pleasant, and we use Google Translate and another family member there, and it is a hard. We want a bilingual. We don't have one. We're always open and looking for that. But kudos to you to working with that, to provide them, because they need to know the truth and not be blindsided. Okay, beside her.
So they could get the best of their money, and I know that knowing little things that we're able to give them, like if there's something wrong with the property, we're able to report that to them. So I think they know this is everything else that can, so
Yeah.
provide them with that, and maybe not be able to say those details, but
Yeah.
at least let them know ahead of time so that they don't, so that they can make the right choice for the property.
Yes. I just want to encourage everybody in the room, when you hit a challenging question in regards to a home inspection, really anything, this has worked so well for me. Because I used to answer the phone in our company until we grew enough that I could hire other people. And in the beginning, I was just like, I'm ready to take information down. And then they start asking, well, do you inspect this? Well, do you get in the crawl spaces? Well, tell me what you do for a septic. And I say, that's a great question. Let me find out from somebody who knows, and I'll get back to you. So you're probably already implementing this, but there is power in that. Identifying that you are not sure the answer, that's not your line of expertise, but you are being proactive to jump out there and find somebody that has that answer. And don't hesitate to call Derek or me, and I will get you connected with the right person, an inspector, your inspector, or Derek in the company. I've done that so many times, and it works. Okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I just want to get more knowledge.
Okay.
I don't feel stupid, actually.
Yeah.
I know it sounds crazy to say that, but I don't want to go to a house and ask me to be like,
Right, right. And just like how you had to get your license and you learned everything in that, I mean, I just encourage everybody to pour into yourself and learn, learn, learn. Ask questions, go to all the classes you can. All right, well, thank y'all for that. That helps me a lot. So can everybody hear me in the back okay? Y'all hear me okay? Okay. ASHI is kind of our father company that it's the governing body that home inspectors and buyers are protected by, that we go by the ASHI standards. You may hear that, and that's what regulates. For instance, if an attic access is a certain width and it's less than 18 by 24, by law, we're not required to get in it. We know that buyer needs us in it. We know there's valuable stuff that they needed, but it's considered a safety issue, and it is kind of outside of, usually you'll find that in older homes, and probably that buyer is going to ask for a remedy, maybe to make that space larger because there's vital information there. So it's things like that we're regulated by. It's not that we're lazy and don't want to do things, but there are times you may see that on a report. But it also, we may put it there so that you have now a third party saying, hey, we have a situation in this house that really needs to be remedied. We need a bigger access area to the attic. So, that a repair could be done. Because if an air conditioner's up there and they need to do that repair, that AC guy's going to say, you're going to have to get this bigger so that I can get up there and work and get the equipment in there. So anyway, ASHI, American Society of Home Inspectors. Okay, so what is a home inspection specifically? It's the process by which an inspector visually examines the readily accessible systems and components of a home in accordance with those ASHI standards. ASHI is nationwide regardless of state. So I really want you to pay attention to visually examines. We can only report what we see. We're not allowed to dismantle. We're not allowed to move their belongings out of the way. We do a little, some, but if there's a lamp that they got at Target and we break it, suddenly it's become a Tiffany lamp that's $500. So we have to be careful with what we do there. So inspecting, visually examining the readily accessible systems and components of the home. Standards items would be the roof, the exterior and interior doors and windows, the basement, foundation, crawl space, structure. Yes, we get in crawl space as long as it's large enough for us to get in, 18 inches. Otherwise, we have a crawl bot. Heating and cooling systems, plumbing, electrical, attic, insulation, and ventilation. So when a client calls and they say, well, what exactly do you inspect? This is what I tell them. Well, we're going to start with the roof. We're going to walk the roof if we can. If it's a metal roof, we're not allowed to get on those. It can damage it. We're going to walk the roof. We're going to examine the exterior, the grading and drainage, where the foliage is and how far it is from the house, and if water would be flowing back towards that house. We're going to check the wall cladding, the doors, the windows, the fascia. We're going to check the garage door openers, the foundation, and then we're going to go into the attic. We're going to check the cross members, everything we can visually see. We're going to look at wiring that we can visually see and look at the insulation. Look for moisture intrusion on the underneath side of that roof, because we might not see anything on the outside when we're walking it, but we could see it if we go up inside the attic and we look from the underneath side, okay? Then on the inside, we're going to run the appliances through a whole cycle. So that's why we need 3 hours in almost every house inspection. Be sure you let your sellers and your buyers know. It's usually a 3-hour minimum, and that's before we do any add-ons, or if it's over 3,000 square feet, then it adds more time. So we're going to run all of the appliances through a whole cycle, dishwasher, and we're going to check the electrical panel. We need access to the electrical panel. Make sure there's no signs of arcing. Remove the cover. Windows, doors, floors, plumbing, faucets, fixtures. It's an overall structural mechanical safety inspection. So usually that covers any of their questions when I go into that much in depth. Any action which will likely involve risk to persons or property, just keep that in mind. That is something we have to be mindful of. Lately, we've had quite a few houses that kind of blows my mind. We get there and the house is full of mold. And I don't mean a little bit of mold. And I'm just going, well, this isn't good. This isn't safe. And did the buyer see it? Has the buyer seen the house? What's on the mind of the agents? It's an unsafe environment to go in to do a thorough inspection and be in there for 3 hours with mold rampant, not just a little in the corner kind of thing. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had to back out and say, I'm sorry, you'll have to get this remediated before it's not safe. Yeah. Okay, is a home inspection a guarantee? No, it is not a guarantee. It is the purpose of a home inspection, and you can also find this on the TREC website. It is to reduce the risk for the buyer. It's to identify if there are any visual signs of something that's going to be a big ticket item, and for them to know how to plan for repairs. And it's not a guarantee of future performance, and it's actually only good for the day of the inspection. So I was really taken back when Derek told me that a house is actually like a living, breathing animal. I was like, what? How can that be? We're talking, this wall's not moving. What do you mean? He said, it's built like an envelope, and it changes. The conditions change, and don't think for a second that an inspection report that you have that's a month old, 6 months, or 3 years old is good enough for that new buyer coming in. It is not. We can have storms, hail damage. They can go off. We had a renter of our own went off in January and turned the heat down to 55. We had a hard freeze. It busted a water line in the attic, and the neighbor called us and said, you might want to check on your neighbors. It looks like they're all there. Their cars are there, and there's water shooting out the roof. And we said, what? You have got to be kidding me. Well, come to find out, they'd gone on a cruise. They were trying to save electricity. And so if somebody had gotten a home inspection on that a week before, and then and conditions can change, okay? So timeliness, that's why it's only good for the day of, because how people change that AC and heating and live in it and flush and don't, and all these things are factors that affect it. So as managing the home inspection, you'll be directing your clients to a home inspector, equipping them for what the experience is going to be like, or you're going to be advising your sellers how should they prepare and things that the inspector might ask, and then how is this a benefit to a seller. I like this screen. It's one of my favorites because I just think we all think this way. Like I said a while ago, we're kind of like your general practitioner or doctor, and the house is getting a physical checkup. And if problems are identified, we're going to refer them to a specialist. But if you go out and you try to say, well, let's just get an HVAC, let's get a roofer, let's get an electrician, one, they won't be able to show up in a timely manner, and each one's going to charge you for that. So you can just cut to the chase and get a general, then you know where to direct your energy to, if any. May not need any. Okay. Let's just talking about qualities to look for in a home inspection company. I will tell you that right now there's a lot of price wars going on. And I think in COVID, everybody jumped out and said, I want to be an inspector. And now we're heavy. I guess you experienced that with agents too, right? And then all of a sudden, there's not enough listings for everybody, and people are hungry. And same thing in the home inspection world. So then they start really cutting prices to the core, and it makes it hard, particularly when you have a staff that you've got to cover costs and stuff. So just be mindful of anybody that's really cutting their prices down low. You might ask yourself, why? And, if these other three companies are busy, staying busy, there's a reason. People are wanting, they've had a good success, a good experience with, they're dependable, whatever the situation is. Just be mindful that make sure your clients are getting a thorough, detailed inspection, and nobody is scrimping on it for your own good and that client, okay? I know we're getting a little lower on time, so I'm going to roll on through some slides here. This was just a throw in I've got here that I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I do want to show you something because I'm a firm believer in this. I thought we'd have a little more time to go through it, but I will email this to you, and I found it helpful for me in what I do when I start recognizing what kind of personality that I'm dealing with. So sometimes I'll get a client on the phone and he's like, yeah, I just wanted a home inspection. Just sign me up. Just whatever. You do it, I gotta do it. Well, I found out he owns a business. He is trying to manage a lot of things. He's very entrepreneurial. He may be in this dominant category up here, who is goal-oriented, risk-taking, good under stress, and his behaviors, he's going to seek ways to get ahead, loves challenges. He can be aggressive and impatient. That may sound like anybody you've dealt with before. And then there's tips on how to relate to them. That's the big takeaway to me. Other ones would be an influencer, a compliance, and a steady. Again, I'll take and email all this to you. Where's our sign-up sheet? Has it made it around the whole room? Okay, who has the sign-up sheet? Is it there in the back? Okay, who has not signed up yet? Okay. She'll bring it up here to you. I want to email this to you, and I just want to encourage you to think about the people that you're working with, because I have found, like, if you have somebody that is like dotting the I's and analyzing everything, they're going to be in this compliance, structured kind of personality. And when you know that they're not just trying to get under your craw or waste your time, that how they process information, and that when you've answered all their questions, or that you may have to slow down a minute and answer some questions. Or the influencers, the socializers, they may want you to go out to dinner with them and then have a warm fuzzy about your personality jihas with them, you know? So seriously, these are real things, and that can be helpful to you. So I just was going to throw that in as far as dealing with people, managing people. Oh, come on. Sorry, I'm trying to deal with that up there. Okay. All right. We're going to get down to some other stuff. Okay. Equipping the buyer for the home inspection. Home inspections, you won't find very many of them less than $400 anymore. If they get a very small house, not very old, and no additional services, it'll be in the upper 300s. So just prepare them anywhere from $350 to $700, and then they'll have a ballpark. $700 would be when they decide to do some add-ons. Okay. Not all inspectors are created equal, and we've kind of talked about cheaper is not always better. We are all licensed by the state. We all have the same license, but after you get that license, you have a TREC form. TREC does say you have to use my form, but then the end result is all about that person, their personality, their ability to communicate with the clients, and their report writing skills. When we're training and choosing home inspectors, we tell them there's 3 parts to your job. There is the physical home inspection, there's writing the report, and there is communicating with your clients. So that's our mindset, and you just keep that in mind when you're choosing home inspection companies. So we're going to set the expectation for the buyer. Yes, there is a legal document called the inspection agreement. All inspection companies have to have it. Our insurance will not let us do an inspection without it being signed. We handle them all electronic signatures. Elderly occasionally will need you to print it, or you see them, or we can help, but sometimes we have to work around that. So in a standard inspection, we talked about what's covered in the house. Add-ons are things like outbuildings, pools, in-law quarters. We do septic inspection, load and die, and we do a sewer scope. Not everybody's doing those, so that's something we offer. Sewer scope, it is a camera that goes down the clean out, and it'll go from the house out to the main or out to the septic box. Especially important for cast iron piping, and any houses prior to 1975 can usually have cast iron piping. That's really important. But it is option, and some people choose to pay the $205 to have that extra testing done, and some don't. But anyway, just let them know, hey, your inspection company should be able to do multiple kinds of inspections for you. They will go over what they offer to you, and you can make a decision on what you want. That's WDI termites as well. And we depend on you putting all the details of that property into Paragon, then pushes it out to Realtor.com, because we can't see what you have in Paragon. So Realtor and Zillow are our resource. A lot of times clients don't even know whether it's on a septic or a city or well or not. So we go down and we expand the property information and look there. And we tell them, okay, this is what I'm seeing is on the property. This is how much this would cost. These are the services we can offer. What would you like us to do? What if the property inspector finds problems? There's going to be things. There's no houses that exist that don't have them. But almost everything can be fixed or replaced. There's always a way to work through the challenges. Most inspectors don't prescribe how things should be repaired, but rather what the end result should be like. And it's okay to get handymen for certain kinds of repairs, but we'll put a qualified electrician further evaluate, or we'll put a licensed person when we know that item is important, that a licensed person address that issue. So you have some choices when you're getting repairs done, is what I'm saying. But home inspectors are not allowed to do repairs by law. We're going to skip this. This is a video. I'll send it to you. It's a video that we send out to all of our clients once they schedule. This is kind of what to expect next. So this is what we want to avoid, that buyer freak out. Don't want them to freak out over things. And remember what I said in the beginning? Communication and knowing what to expect next is the vital thing. So if they choose to move on, they'll find a house with concerns that they can live with. It's important to remember that these conditions were there before the home inspector got there. We didn't create a situation to break a deal, but communication is vital. And we just have to remember that client's tolerance level is a real factor in this whole situation. Have you seen that to be the case? Like some clients are more tolerant of something being on a report than others are? Yeah.
So the buyer ended up backing out of the contract, but then, when somebody else, when it went under contract with somebody else, they reached out for the whole house and they're backing. And it's like, well, they may have the funds to repair it, or they may have worked out. I don't know. Like, I can't go into detail and ask for them to release that information. It's just like you said, tolerance.
Right.
If you don't have the funds to repair it going in, then that's
Yeah.
something that you decided with the information that was given
Mm-hmm.
from the inspector. But could it also be that maybe if they had a different inspector, the inspection could have gone completely different?
Shouldn't. It shouldn't. They should find the exact same thing when it comes to if a roof has issues, they should find the same thing, in my opinion. But yeah. So here's something that could have happened. Let's say that seller didn't know that they had a lot of damage on the roof, and they negotiated with buyer A all the way down till it hurt, and they had nowhere to go.
Because they knew about it, and it was being told as is, with no repairs to the roof and no put down on price.
Oh, they knew already. Okay.
So it was just as is, and the buyer's coming to set
Yeah.
to doing repairs to begin with.
It could have been a flipper for buyer B. They could say, hey, yeah, I know I can replace that. I'm buying it for this as is. I can redo it, and I know what the market is. I can still get a profit on this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. What's that? Do it themselves? Right. Could be a contractor. Another situation, keep this in mind. I've seen this happen a lot. Say that seller didn't know, they negotiated all the way down. Next time, now they know. They're supposed to disclose this, right? That's what they're supposed to do. But let's say it was $100,000 and they negotiated down to $80,000. They didn't have any more place to go. And then buyer B comes along and offers them 85 or 90 or something. And then now they might have a little cushion where they could get the insurance company involved, and that can pay for the deductible. And so there's all those kinds of things that can come into play. Yeah. Inspectors do not kill deals, conditions, people, buyers and sellers making decisions that are better for them. And that's why we encourage our buyers to always come to that consultation, to have that consultation. And then just having good communication and being proactive can really help them. Derek tells a story of he was doing an inspection one time, and he was going through the pictures and talking about this property, and it had a lot of GFCI issues going on with it. And the lady just grabbed her purse and said, "Come on, George, we're leaving." And Derek's like, "What's going on?" And she said, "This house has so many electrical problems. It is a fire hazard, and we need to just cancel this contract immediately." He's like, "What? Wait just a minute. GFCIs. This is a $300 fix. It's just an upgrade, a new rule, and needing them around the water." And he was able to calm her down. But that's where we've got to remember that these buyers are sitting on an emotional level of about a 19 out of 20, and it doesn't take much to scare them to death. So all that conversation is so important.
You also have those buyers that want to have everything repaired.
Yeah.
From the top to the bottom, everything that's on the report asks for it to be repaired.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Right. And in our consultation, what we tell them is, okay, let's talk about the fish story. Remember the fish and that. So let's look at this list realistically. Let's first of all take what you know you can do. Take what needs to be done down the road. Let's just take those off the table. Let's see what we got left. And let's consider asking for the money things, or let's split it in half, and do that. So we do work with those clients. We can't tell them what to do, but we do try to emphasize being realistic, reasonable, and some of this is for planning for future repairs too.
Sometimes you have to remind them, this is a used home.
Right.
And it's not brand new. There are going to be conditions with it. You can't expect an absolutely perfect brand new home if you're making a general system.
That's right. That's right. Buyer advice: explain to the buyers that there are options for dealing with the conditions that the inspector may discover. So the more you know up front what your options are, the more you're prepared for the questions, the smoother it's going to go. Then you aren't feeling like you're behind the 8 ball. Hey, if you already know, hey, this seller may be open to this or this, we could do this, and that. Just being aware. Be sure you open the inspection report. We do ask them, can we share the inspection report with your agent? And most all the time, they want their agent to have it. So when you read that report, then you're going into that conversation with them aware of what they may be coming at you with. Of course, I know it's all their decision on that repair addendum and all that, but that way, if you look at it and you want to make a quick call for clarification to us, if there's even a need for that, you going into that conversation, ready. We talked about the 2 to 4 hours. Conditions, advising buyers who's responsible for any property damage. So please encourage your buyers not to bring their uncles and their aunts and their children and their godchildren, and because as inspectors now, we're responsible for all that owner's stuff while we're in the care, custody, control of this house during this inspection. That visit is for a later time, and that can really be a thing that and then everybody wants to show up an hour early, hang out, visit, and look, and the inspector's trying to focus and do his job and make sure that the property is managed well. It's just, that's a tip that we really need, everybody to be on board with. The role of the buyer's agent. Agents can help deter buyer freak out syndrome, but no house is perfect, even the new ones. Agents can help to communicate what the inspector's looking for during the inspection and many issues found for the home. Inspector can be addressed during that closing transaction process. How many of you know to do a walkthrough before the end? Don't let that slip. Do it. Do it with them, and that can save all of us. Just the other day, we had a condition where when we were there 6 weeks before and did the home inspection, we happened to have a picture of that spot right there in the ceiling because it was beside a vent. We take 300 to 500 pictures. The lady moves in. They did a walkthrough. She says it wasn't there. But 1 week later, now it's a water spot and it's starting to leak. Well, there happened to, research showed that we had some really bad storms, and they did have some roof shingles that moved and everything. It was a new condition. But if you take them before closing to look at it and they say, yep, everything looks good, you got another layer of protection there. Does the client need to be present for the whole inspection? No. We hope one of them can come by at the end, but the whole inspection, no. Buyer might decide to bring a contractor or somebody else or you. That's just totally fine. Just too many are a distraction. So any questions about buyers and preparing them for the home inspection? I hope you got some value out of that piece. Okay. I can just not emphasize communicate. Tell them you got to do this. It's the best thing money you will ever invest is getting that done. And that we're there to help them, support them, and answer their questions. Equipping the seller. Are we about out of time?
Well, you didn't get the whole hour anyway, so.
I know. Do I have 10 minutes? Okay. I just want to be respectful of everybody's time. Advising the seller and setting expectations. What is the inspector going to do or not do? So this is one of the most important things that you can do as an agent is help your seller get that house ready to be inspected. You want, as a listing agent, you want as few items on that report as you can, because the psychology of the human nature is that if there's 20 things on a report, it is much worse than if there's one thing on the report and it happens to be, a roof that won't be fixed. Like that, but that 20 might cost, $500,000 or something like that. So psychology tells us the more items on there, the worse the property is, right? So things like make sure there's a light bulb everywhere. Same color. Yeah, same color light bulb. That and that the remotes for the ceiling fans, come on. If not, we got to write it up. And it's going to be another thing on the report. Okay?
Having my buyers do a pre-inspection so we can get
as much taken care of prior. And you can also provide that we have a pre-inspection, so they're
Yes.
more likely to get a quicker sell.
A pre-listing inspection for your sellers. That is the best thing anybody can ever do, and I've got some slides about that. So she's talking about if the best thing you can do is get your sellers to do an inspection before you list the property. Let them have that report in hand. Then they will know what all they need to fix and repair. Yes, they're going to pay for the price of it, but it will pay them to have that information. I don't know if you can tack $400 onto the listing price for them to recoup it. I don't know if you can do that or not. Sounds like a good idea to me.
If they choose not to do the repairs, then they have to list it on the seller's disclosure.
If it's before,
If they have a pre-inspection.
okay,
And they find 20 things.
okay,
And they choose to only do 10 of them, the other 10 are going to have to be listed on the seller's disclosure.
okay,
As a defect.
okay,
So most of your sellers will not want to do that.
okay.
I had my son do it, and he did all the repairs, lowered the dirt, did this.
Yeah, yeah.
But not everybody's willing to do
So I hear what you're saying. One thing it helps, though, is it helps that seller and agent to price that house. Well, if we know that on these other 10 items, that those other 10 items might cost $3,000, well, then they might not negotiate all the way down to their bottom dollar. Then they got that $3,000 cushion that somebody's going to want those things repaired. Oh, we'll give you $3,000 towards it. You just kind of have to sometimes think outside the box a little bit. What's on your mind?
Honesty, the buyer feels that they're not
Yes.
hiding anything from you.
Definitely. I've been told that.
What did she say?
She's saying, what she's saying is that she feels like it helps buyers to feel like that seller doesn't have anything to hide and that they're being upfront and honest about the condition of a property. So it gives them a stronger sense of confidence in that seller and the price and what's going on. So I have seen that too. One other thing that we offer in that pre-listing inspection, we come out, do a full home inspection, give them the report that they can take a minute and they can look at it and make decisions on what they're going to fix. Call us back when those are fixed, and then we will identify they've been fixed. We'll take them off of the report, and now they've got a cleaner, better report to work with that may still just have those 10 items because it's been repaired. And
But the deal is that aren't you supposed to still, any inspection reports you've had in the last 4 years? You have to.
and that's a NAR.
Well, a lot of people like when it's already on there, so they can determine whether to even have to buy another way, because you're providing them with one, and you're showing we've already taken care of these things, and we priced it according to already addressing these issues.
But she said that you should not use a prior inspection. In other words, you have, your buyer, even though it's going to rely on it, should still have another inspection.
Right, which they still can, but it helps some of them make that determination.
Yeah.
Especially if you see it was just done 2 weeks prior.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
But as they say, things happen in that
Yes.
2 weeks period.
Yeah.
So
But that is the decision of the buyer.
get a home warranty.
yes.
Home warranties don't pay jack crap.
Well, I disagree with that.
Okay. I loved them. And then now I have been through so many challenges lately with our personal properties with them. And if something goes off in the first 30 days, well, I've done American Home Shield and American Home Warranty were the two that I had on my properties. I loved them. And just lately, they've just gone south to me. But I would love to hear who you're using that you're having good success with. Totally appreciate that.
Laura, who have you used? Captain with Old Republic?
Who's that?
With Old Republic? Old Republic.
Old Republic. Okay. Good to know.
She is, available to help, undersell, take the call.
Yeah.
She's the one that takes care of making the contact, get a
Mhm.
contractor out there, or
Yeah.
And see what the problem is.
And they only cover the big major components too. There are limitations to what they will cover. And usually it's not in the first 30 days.
Actually, some of the warranty companies go above and beyond how much they will cover, especially if it's on like an AC. They will pay the full total cost other than their quote.
Yeah.
What they have to have as their
And,
service charge.
and I'm sure that also depends on the kind that is purchased too. Like there's different, gold, premium, whatever too.
Right.
So that's good.
And who does that elder work for? Fidelity. She's really good. Yeah.
I think every situation has to be evaluated of what works. It's not like always do this one thing. But if you have an older home, sometimes that can be helpful so that you won't get blindsided, because chances are we're at 90% now of everybody is getting a home inspection. So that list is going to be disclosed. So the less that we blindside that seller and that they know, and it helps with the pricing and the negotiations, just the whole thing, it is a tool. It's a tool in your toolbox to keep in mind.
I would never recommend buying a house without having a home inspection. One I got on Copeland Road, literally was a California buyer working with another agent, didn't have an inspection. Well, let's see, it's been a year and the house is full boarded up because termites ate it.
Oh my gosh.
So if they had just had an inspection, it probably would have found that. And,
Yeah. Had termites.
Like termites.
Okay, this is a really important item I want to focus on. Sellers need to be sure that if they move out, that they do not turn the gas off. Now, it's in their contract. I've seen your contract, and it says seller will keep all the utilities on, and they think they're saving themselves some money. But let me tell you, my experience has been, let's say it's an older home, they turn it off, and the house is vacant 30 days. Don't be surprised if here comes a utility company, goes and pulls that meter, and now it's a $750 meter, and then you got to get plumbers involved, go out and test the line, and then we're into some serious money, all because they turned off the gas. So this is a really point of contention with us as inspectors, that when we get to the property, we need to make sure that we ask that listing agent, are all the utilities on? And, I know you're busy, but this is really super, super important. So sometimes that seller might say yes, but it really isn't, or the gas isn't on, or the water is off, but it's on at the street, but they turned it off because there's been freezing. Just that really good level of communication. And if you guys could just go back to the property when it's been vacant, and before the inspection, and just make sure that all those utilities are on and ready, so that we don't have to reschedule and charge a return trip charge because we couldn't inspect on that day because the utilities are not on. If the water isn't on, there is so much tied to water and electricity. It's not worth us even starting. It's just too much that's tied to that. And so we do try to ask that. So we just ask that you help us out with that. Provide clear and unrestricted access to that list on the left. When you're talking with your sellers, when you're listing that property, or before the inspection's going to come up, you're getting ready. You guys are fixing to receive a contract. You got serious buyers. Take a minute and just go, or either call or go by and say, hey, they're going to need into these areas. They're going to need in the attic, the crawl space. We need to make sure, hey, can we unscrew that panel so they can get in that crawl space, move the dog house that weighs 200 pounds. True story. Maybe you and your high school buddy can, kids can get that doghouse out of the way so the inspector can get to the crawl space that's screwed closed under that house. So we don't have to reschedule. Then y'all have to do an amendment for a change in the dates. You see how the ball rolls? Like the more we can all be proactive to set us up for success on that inspection right out the gate, the smoother the whole thing goes. Add cross-space electric panels. Yes, we're going to remove that panel cover. So no refrigerators, freezers, gun cases, locked closets. If it's in a closet, we need to know it's behind the clothes back there, whatever the situation is. Furnaces, water heater closets, if they lock up any of those and there's an extra key to that, please let us know that. And then removing the animals from the premise. You know, in a perfect world, the animals are there. But only they know whether they're going to receive our inspector well. Just please don't put our inspectors in a vulnerable position where a pet might not be friendly. Either they can move them to another room or put them in their crate for a little while or move them to the front and the back. We just need help with that, okay? So this was more about the pre-listing inspection. The more information agents can provide to give the buyers peace of mind, the better it is for the sale. And the pre-listing inspection also reinforces the seller's asking price. It enables agents to explain how the inspection report plus any repairs that were made before listing helped the seller to arrive at the home value. I think, Young, check this out. I think it's NAR that wants you guys to provide that any inspection report for the last 4 years. I don't think it's a TREC rule, but I think it's a NAR rule. Just something to think about.
I think it's a state rule.
Which would be TREC.
Yes.
Okay.
And only because I teach real estate at college.
Awesome. Okay. Okay. This areas we're going to do again. Any questions about what we do in those areas or? You have a question? Okay. Okay. Well, we finally reached the end, you guys. I appreciate your time, but I would like to open it up for questions. Any thoughts?